Hello there. Come right on in. You must be my 8 p.m. Excellent. I trust you didn't have too much trouble finding your way here. That rain is relentless, and in the dark, it can be a real challenge to find this place, but you are right on time. I appreciate you being willing to meet at such a comparatively late hour. It is a bit unusual, I know, but I find this kind of work to be well suited to the evening hours. It suits me too, the dark and the quiet, the distance from the daily hustle and bustle. I'm afraid I've become more or less nocturnal over the years. Now, you have cleared your schedule for the evening, yes? Nowhere to be directly afterwards, no big plans waiting on you? Good, that's very good. There's no real way to predict how long this will take, and it's important not to rush things. You now have my complete and undivided attention, and I'm very grateful that you've chosen to give me yours. So please, settle in, relax, and make yourself comfortable. You are welcome to sit on the couch, just right behind you over there. Now, I've kept the room rather dim, you might have noticed, with candlelight as its only illumination. This is by design. Every color, every fabric, every texture of this room has been chosen for its ability to exude comfort and safety. To please without overwhelming. To soothe. Comfortable? Good. Now, allow me to pour you some tea. How does it smell? Not too medicinal, I hope? It's my own blend. Oh, just a bit of this and that. Celastrus, chamomile, skullcap, mugwort, bit of blue lotus, and a touch of honey for the flavor. Did you happen to notice the glass-paned greenhouse on your way in? My personal herb garden is inside. I grow everything right here. I find the process of tending and cultivation very rewarding. Please, have a sip. Tell me what you think. Well, you're not grimacing, so it can't be that bad. Now, you saw the listing, you know this is an experimental treatment. Tell me, what else do you know? Yes, the call for applicants was somewhat vague by design. I wanted to avoid participants coming here with too many preconceived notions. For me to administer treatment effectively, your mind and body need to be open and relaxed as much as possible. Well, yes, it did, didn't it? The call for volunteers did specifically request participants who have trouble with being open and being relaxed. I assume that struck a nerve with you. Of course it did. Why else would you have come? Now, before we begin, I need to conduct a simple assessment to gauge your suitability for this treatment. It's quite simple and non-invasive. You may stay seated. I will need to be close enough for you to interact with and assess your energy field. Is that alright? Good. Alright, so my hands won't touch you, but you might feel some warmth from where they pass close to your skin. I'm going to start here, hovering just over the top of your head, just an inch or so from your scalp. Interesting. Alright, now I'm just hovering my hands over your forehead, just sensing the pliability, the resistance of your unique energetic signature. I'm only putting the faintest bit of pressure on it, knocking on the front door of your mind, so to speak. You shouldn't feel much from this, except, say, for maybe a mild tingling sensation. Now down over your ears, down your neck, then shoulders. Oh, how curious. Down your upper arms, then your forearms. Going to try and pull on it a bit here, see if I can... alright, perhaps not. Out to the wrists, the palms, then the fingers all the way out to their tips. Then back over the chest, your sternum, your stomach, down across your pelvis. Just getting your energy accustomed to me, showing it that I'm here to help and that I'm not a threat to you. Good, very good. Down your hips, your thighs, across your knees, down your calves, through your ankles and down to your feet, out through the tip of your toes. Good. Very, very interesting. No, I'm afraid. Not interesting in a good way. Well, not for you. I've seen some defensive barriers in my time, believe me, but yours is something else entirely. It's woven from such tight, interlocking bands of energy that it's practically rigid, like a suit of plate armor. A healthy barrier, for comparison, should feel fluid and flexible. It should move freely with the body and shifting in porosity and hue in response to the emotions you experience. It should be somewhat permeable, but stable and kind of springy. When I press against it, as I'm doing now, just over the center of your chest, it should give slightly and then spring back into place. But yours barely moves at all, and it's so locked down, so expression averse. One might begin to wonder whether you're feeling anything under there at all. But you are, aren't you? That's why you're here. The disconnect. My call for applicants spoke to you for a reason. You've spent too much of your life locked away, pushed down, subdued and compressed, until you barely even have access to your own innermost self anymore. You're out of touch with yourself. The most vital and vibrant part of you keeps eluding your grasp, doesn't it? Save for, in those most private of moments, the little stolen pieces of safety you manage to carve out for yourself. You want to let go, to let it out, but you just can't. You can't untense, can't relax. You don't remember how. I'm sorry. Was that too abrupt? Please, don't be embarrassed. After examining you, I am certain that you are a perfect candidate for this treatment. I must admit, I'm excited. Okay, then let's begin. Firstly, let me see your face. I just need to check. Oh my, look at those eyes. I can see the tea is having an effect on you already. Shh, it's alright. Your limbs are likely starting to feel very heavy. Allow them to sink back into the fabric of the couch. Relax. Your control over your body is fading rapidly. Fighting it won't help. There is truly nothing you can do. Try to find some peace in that. Ah, is that a flicker of fear I see across your face? That's perfectly fine. It's understandable. Giving up control can be frightening indeed. But it's alright. You need this. You've needed this for a long time. I'm simply going to sit here next to you. I'm going to place this cushion on my lap and ease you down to rest your head upon it. There you are. I know it's unconventional, but I find this treatment most effective when I'm able to have some skin-to-skin contact. You can't move, but your sense of touch is working just fine. So here and there you may notice the light pressure of my fingertips moving across your skull. The areas I touch will correspond to the portion of the brain I need access to in order to administer this treatment. it'd probably feel just a bit like I'm playing with your hair and giving you a light scalp massage. I expect it will feel rather nice. Oh dear. Are those tears I see welling up in your eyes? Well, that's perfectly fine. You can cry as much as you need to. Such release is good for the body and the mind. You can let it out. It certainly won't discourage me. Excellent. Now we can really get back to work. Breathe. Relax. Soften. Unfurl for me. Just breathe. Good. Very good. Earlier, when I inspected your energy barrier, I was also attuning myself to it in such a way that I can now access and manipulate it somewhat. It's a particular skill of mine that I've worked very hard to cultivate, although I must say, your barrier is particularly troublesome to interact with, as close and protective as it is around your being. But that is just fine. I do so love a challenge. All I need to do is find a place where all this pressure, all this rigidity... Come now, I know there must be one somewhere. Ah, there it is. So fine, so faint, that any eye less trained than mine would have certainly missed it. A fissure, a crack in the walls you've erected under your psyche. And for me, a way in. This will likely feel strange. As familiar as you might think you are with the inner workings of your own mind, I think you might be surprised by how unfamiliar a landscape it forms when forced to materialize into a representation of itself in response to a stranger. Just remember, this is your world we're exploring, your inner landscape. I bring nothing with me but myself and my tools. I am merely a visitor. Take a nice full deep breath for me. Just like that, good. Now, as you exhale, I'm going to slip right in. Interesting. I never know what to expect when first entering a mind, but I can tell you that it wasn't this. This wasteland. A grey, pale sky thick with an even blanket of low-hanging clouds. The air is cool and dry and smells of dust and stone. The ground is nearly the very same shade of grey, dry and cracked and flat, stretching off endlessly to the horizon in any direction I look. I see that there are plants here, or what's left of them. Low, brittle, twisted things that seem to claw their way up from the earth, stunted in life, no better in death. Pale trees, too, leafless and gnarled, squat and skeletal, dry as a bone. There's no nourishment here, no moisture, nothing green. There are buildings, too, the bones of what were once buildings, at least, built from grey stone, cracked and crumbled and neglected. A place people might have lived once, but not for a long, long time. There are no footsteps in this fine grey dust that's settled over everything. None but my own. Even those are wiped clean the moment the wind blows, erasing any trace of my passing as I walk through and around these silent ruins. Through these spaces that were once roads, perhaps. Through these stones that were once homes. Nothing lives here. This place whispers to me on the empty wind. This world cannot sustain life. But it did once, didn't it? I understand what this is. This lifeless borderland. This space exists to insulate you, to turn away your visitors, by signaling that there is nothing for them here. Every bit of interest and personality carefully scraped clean and left bare to the ravages of time and neglect. A place entirely devoid of what is soft and vulnerable. I have nothing for you, this place tells me. There is nothing to me at all. But I know better. I know that you've hidden yourself away, and I'm going to find you. No matter how still and small and silent you make yourself, I will draw you out. There's nowhere you can hide that I cannot find. I just need to find a way forward, and there is always a way forward. Here, passing through a half-collapsed archway of stone, into this desolate square of dried and long-dead plants, pale and withered, and so brittle that they dissolve at the slightest touch. This was a garden once, wasn't it? That crumbling circle in the middle looks like it must have been a fountain, and this statue at its center, cracked and worn as it may be, it still carries your likeness well. From where did this water flow when this place was green? From here, your carven, downcast eyes, or maybe from here, these lips frozen in stone. Traces of mineral flow and sediment remain. I could feel their texture beneath my fingertips. I know there is more to you than this. I could sense a hint of what remains, the barest twitch of a wry smile. A pulse of anger in the set of your jaw, in the curl of your fingers into the meat of your palm. Something fierce and bright that flickers, ever so briefly behind the shaded light of your eyes. These sound like the observation of someone who has known you for longer than the time that has passed since you arrived here. Well, let's just say that I'm very dedicated to my patients. That includes doing the proper research to ensure a successful session. Let's leave it at that. Here, if I sweep aside this dead foliage, this dust, this garden long abandoned, there it is. Something green. A little shoot. Palest green and malnourished, but concealing a delicate strength. Only dare to touch it with the utmost care and gentleness. It is velvet soft and small enough underneath my hands. You have been healing then. Slowly. Painfully slowly. This vital part of you has been tucked away beneath all this disinterested death, nurtured by the discarded husks of every way you've protected yourself until now. That's good. There, a few drops of my life's blood, spattered upon the soil where the little life struggles towards the absent sun. Isn't it striking? The rich crimson against the pallid earth. Drink deep, little one. I know you must be thirsty. Swell and surge. It is only a small taste, but it will awaken in you a hunger that has been dormant for far too long. Remember what it is to grow, to reach, to yearn, and to act upon the yearning. To expose something fragile, and to trust that it will be well cared for. You see, even now, the little sprout begins to unfurl. Good, very good. And what's this? You've introduced something new. The fountain. It was bare and dry when I arrived, but now it glimmers with streaks of some dark liquid. The statue. Its cracks are brimming and overflowing into the basin below, pouring forth like blood from innumerable lacerations. Too thick and too opaque to be water, and black as the dead of night. The way it churns and bubbles and coats all that it touches. Do you mean for this to frighten me? This ichor that bubbles forth from your stone effigy, you mean for it to be a warning, don't you? A sign of something darker lurking beneath the crust of this borderland. something far less benign than an empty wasteland. Beware, you signal. Something wretched lies beneath. Something you don't want to see. But I do. I do want to see. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of turning back. The dark liquid clings and sucks at my feet as I wade through it to be weeping, bleeding statue. I place my hands upon the stone and I feel the shape of it, where it is cold and curved, where it is jagged, where it is broken, and where it threatens to cut. These places are usually the same, a wound wielded as a weapon. I don't mind how it stains me, how the blackness coats my skin. I welcome it. You are frozen in time and cannot come to me, cannot yield, so I will envelop you. Because here, cradling this stone effigy in my arms, I can feel the seam of your deepest wound. I can explore the shape of it with my fingertips. Feel how the ichor bubbles up from within like a spring, desperate to break free from the knotted locus of suffering at your core. It crashes at the boundaries of you, doesn't it? I sense the pressure pushing from the inside out. You will not be able to sustain this half-roused state for long without breaking. So, let us speed up this process, shall we? This blade, the one that I use to bleed myself, yes. I'm going to take it out and, as delicately as picking a lock, find the correct angle. Oh, I feel the way you tense against me, in the waking world, on my lap. Your fear is understandable. I've taken a blade, a tool of harm, to the most fragile crack in your exterior. The place that you are most vulnerable. Will it hurt, you wonder? Will I be in pain? The answer, I'm afraid, is yes. I never promised that I wouldn't hurt you. There will be pain. It will be a good pain, like setting a bone, but pain nonetheless. You cannot stop it. You cannot fight it. All you need to do is relax and remember to breathe as I insert the blade deeply, deeply into this black-stained shell of stone. Yes, you can cry out. It's perfectly alright. Good, very good. Let it press into you. Let it penetrate your core. Feel the strangeness, the otherness, the newness in a place you have kept hidden for so long. And then let yourself shatter around it. And now I stand in the between place. The space within the walls of your mind that you've created to defend yourself from anything that might manage to get past those barren borderlands. If that place was unwelcoming by way of emptiness, this place is doubly so because of what it contains. A place that says, you're not wanted here, you're not safe, you'll be hurt if you stay. This does not frighten me. It is dark, the sky is roiling, angrily churning, lit from within by florid flashes of pale electricity. The air is charged with it, thick and sharp, with the scent of ozone. Many trees I see, with snake-like coiling roots and gnarled, bulbous trunks, their great limbs reaching jaggedly upwards to that mercilessly endless storm. They are dead, but their bodies still serve as hosts for the bloated fungal fruiting bodies that grow upon them, pale and flesh-like, and almost glowing in the dimness. The ground beneath my feet is wet and black, thick with pools of dark water choked with rotten leaves and poisonous plants. This earth sucks and squelches as I move, designed to slow me, to render me helpless. Here and there I see the pale, darting shapes of little sightless creatures in the water, beings that have lived so long without the light that they don't seem to need it anymore. What are they really, I wonder? Little thoughts and processes of the mind that you have cultivated to survive in this harsh environment afforded not even the most basic necessities of comfort and company. They feed nothing but the rot you feed them, the rotting corpses of those who have tried to seek you out here before and failed. I see the bodies. Oh, they are numerous. How many hearts have you buried here? Here, in this black swamp, I pass beneath the gnarled canopy, beneath the hungry gaze of predators lurking just out of sight. I see the reflection of their eyes, the slow drip of salivation from their many eager teeth. I feel you watching me from every angle, observing me as I trespass. When will I falter, you wonder? When will I realize I've got an in over my head? When will I flinch? When will I finally understand that this is simply too much ugliness, too much wretchedness to bear, that driving me away was a kindness, a favor? Never. This may be a grim place, laced through with heavy emotion and unkind thought, but there is beauty here too, an entire ecosystem, complex and compelling. It does not repulse me, no, quite the opposite. I find it draws me in. Slowly, inexorably, eternally undeterred, I'm moving closer to the place where you hide. That angers you, doesn't it? I see your anger agitate this place. Malevolent wind stirs, cold and cruel. I see your anger forming into a sinuous, ravenous creature that emerges from the gloom before me. A powerfully built shadow thing that shifts and blurs and lurches forward with predatory intent. Come to me, then. I am right here. Set yourself upon me. Let this blackness press in on me and try to force its way inside, trying to choke me, trying to drown me, trying to force itself past my teeth and down my throat. It blinds my eyes and fills my ears and rakes across my skin, screeching and careening through this lightless place like a flock of maddened scavenger birds. Outraged at my presence like a wild animal, your fear paces and snarls and strikes, desperate to protect its den. Oh, this is good. This is very, very good. You don't want me here. I'm an interloper. Like an immune system fights a foreign body, your mind is trying to excise me, to force my presence out. It will not work. I am not going anywhere. But it is so good that you are trying. This probably seems worse to you, doesn't it? This black rage, this wild fury. No doubt the wasteland felt safer to you. Calmer, more predictable. This, by contrast, is so out of control, so vicious, and desperate, and even malicious. Yes, you can be cruel. You have it within you. You may not believe me when I tell you that this is a good thing, but it is. It is not your life's purpose to be as obtrusive and mild as possible, no matter what you've been told, no matter what is convenient for others. Tear into me as much as you need. Trust that I can take it. This form of yours, this guardian you designed it to cause harm. Sink your teeth into my flesh. Close your powerful jaw around my neck and feel the release as vital parts of me rip and tear. Mutilate this form as you wish. It is only a projection of me. It is able to reform instantly and endlessly. You cannot harm me in any way that matters. although I certainly invite you to try. My discipline is yours to test. See how your maw drips and reddens with my essence, my flesh parts easily beneath your teeth, your monstrous claws. Yes, I welcome it. Take your fill. These rages do not last. They cannot sustain themselves. Already the creature slinks away, spent for the time being, dissipating into wisps of dark vapor, now that its purpose is served. I admit, I am somewhat sad to see it go. You make for a truly beautiful monster. This dark and churning sea will calm, the deluge will fade into a drizzle. When the storm passes, only we will remain, whole and still, standing in the gentle rain. Or perhaps only me. You seek to evade me still. That's alright. I am nothing if not patient, and to be honest, I'd be a little bit disappointed if we were done already. Ah, what's this? A light. Dim but certain, visible through the twisting branches and vaporous gloom. A warm light. A fire. Let us see what you have in store for me next. What is that scent on the wind? Something burns. There's smoke, and sweetness, and a slight sharpness that almost stings. Incense, billowing, soft-moving ribbons of it that drift out from and circle this structure of stone that rises up from the blackness of the earth. Cedar and rosemary and... do I detect wormwood? This smoke is a warding measure then. The flames that flicker and the hanging braziers that line this little temple from a protective circle of sorts. I climb the marble steps that rise from the muck of this place, surprised by the cleanliness and warmth of this little sanctuary. A small circular room with a block of stone at its center, a sarcophagus. A shrouded figure, carved from stone reclining atop it, half concealed by choking growth of thorn and vine. That scent beneath the incense, green, floral. Someone has strewn flower cuttings throughout this little chamber. Branches of pale, blooming blackthorn, pink oleander, juniper needles, and asphodel, scattered but purposeful. You mean this place to be your tomb? You're in there, aren't you? Beneath the heavy lid of this marble coffin. I understand why you want to stay here, why you want to hide. This banishing smoke, these herbs of warding. You're not trying to keep me out of this place. You're trying to keep yourself sealed in. To convince yourself that this is as things should be. That you can be happy like this. Or happy enough, at least. But you cannot. I will not let you settle for this. Carefully, my fingers find the lip of the sarcophagus lid. With only a little force, the vines are torn away and discarded. They offer you no protection from me. The thorns do not deter me either. You should know by now that nothing will. And with little effort, the lid is pushed aside. Well, you've surprised me again. I thought I'd find you laid to rest here, still and cold, but it's a passageway down into the earth. Intriguing. The walls are wet and warm to the touch. I can feel them pulsate ever so slightly just here, where I've placed my hand. The scent. Salt and blood and something unrecognizable. Ancient somehow, like the wind carried over a primordial sea. Well, I'm certainly not stopping now. I will descend. You have me somewhat taken aback, I'm delighted to say. This strange organic tunnel. It feels like the inside of some great beast. Like I've been swallowed whole. But I see some kind of faint and blinking phosphorescence beneath the skin-like surface of the membranous walls, translucent and iridescent, shifting and shimmering in innumerable subtle hues. This place feels alive, aware, but also strangely mechanical. Some strange synthesis of flesh and machine. But not torturous or crude, no. Delicate, complex. And there, at its core, deep down in this passage, there you are. I have found you. And what a fascinating state you're in. At rest, suspended just slightly above, connected to the world you've created by a filigree of impossibly delicate veins that twine about you and support your weight like neurons. Like the branches of a tree. It's all the same here, isn't it? This place nourishes you, I think. Translates the raw material of the outside world into something you can feed from. Transformed as it passes through this membranous space and into your being. This is what you were so afraid of me seeing. This deepest and most intimate space where few, if any, have ever tread before. You were afraid I might find it repulsive, that anyone who cracked you open might recoil from what they found inside. But no, it's beautiful. I find myself in awe. I've done so much with so little and for so long. Such control you've managed to assert here. Such perfect balance, save for this one crucial aspect. Like a plant in too small of a pot, it seems your roots are beginning to choke you. It's become crowded here, and you have nowhere to go. No room to change. But you took the first step already. Before all this, out in the waking world, you reached out to me. I'm here, and I have you. I will say, seeing you laid out like this before me, at your most vulnerable and exposed, I must admit the possibilities are thrilling to consider. I could alter you, fundamentally, reach inside and pluck the strings at your core, tuning you to suit whatever melody I might wish to play. But no, I won't do that. I don't want to do that, in truth. I'm not here to rewrite you by force. I'm here to cultivate, to guide, to prune, to cut when necessary. And now, I'm going to cut you free. I know it's frightening. It's alright. There will be a little pain, but it's nothing compared to the slow suffocation you've been enduring here. You're going to be fine. You're strong. Very strong. And you and I are going to work together to plant you in a bigger, better pot. A place where you can breathe. A place where you can grow. Let me just... There. That's it. Relax into my arms. I've got you. I'm sure it feels very strange, letting go of what sustained you for so long. But that's what must be done when it no longer serves you. When it begins to do you harm. It's alright. You can lean on me fully. I can easily support your weight. You are perfectly safe. We've done enough for today, I think. It's time to end this session. Now we will return to that little candlelit room, to that couch, back into your body, into your waking mind, your conscious thoughts, and the familiar external world. Feel the cushion beneath your body, beneath your cheek, the weight of your limbs. Come back to yourself. Inhabit your body fully. That's it. Good. Breathe. How do you feel? Of course, you can't answer me just yet. The tea's effects will likely last a little while longer, but I sense a change in you already. An openness that was not there before. Perhaps a heightened sensitivity as your defenses have been peeled away. It's quite normal. You may find yourself somewhat more vulnerable to being overwhelmed, at least for the time being. Another reason to keep this room a soft, dim, quiet place. Rest here now. Relax. And when the trembling stops, revel in the work we've done. Be proud of what's been accomplished in this one single session. Be proud of yourself. You did so very well. Now sleep. Sleep. That's it. Close your eyes and sleep.